Teammates of the Rapid Results Institute. You are calling in from Dubai, London, New York, Chicago, Portland, and Sacramento. We are spread out across the world and working on different projects from government delivery acceleration to healthcare delivery to homelessness. And despite different time zones and different projects, we've been able to come together to look at this piece of the journey together. And I'm excited and appreciate how we're going to continue to do that. So, like you all know, we work on 100-day challenges. And a 100-day challenge is a call to action to do this work in new ways. And the methodology allows for us to see different levels of stakeholders. And so what we mostly focus on are frontline staff who make up the 100-day team, who come together to set an ambitious but reasonable 100-day goal and a detailed and innovative work plan to achieve that goal. But another key component of this journey are the sponsors. And so you know this because we do this work, but just to review, the sponsors shape the challenge that's posed by the system leaders to the 100-day team. They're also responsible for building the team, so they figure out who needs to be on it, invite them, clarify their role, and bring them together for the launch. Then, after the team launches throughout the 100-day journey, the sponsors are responsible for unlocking resources, preserving the space for the team to experiment, execute, innovate, fail, learn, and keep trying. They provide support and encouragement because, goodness, we know that they're going to experience barriers along the way. And then towards the end of the journey, the sponsors are key for allowing the team and the community to lock in those gains and ensure sustainability. So we at Rapid Results are always working towards a goal around outcomes and sustainability. And it's become clear that the sponsors can play a huge role in improving outcomes and in ensuring sustainability. So the way we currently do this now is we have engagement with sponsors that isn't necessarily planned out through the whole journey and just reacting to things that we're seeing over the course of the week that we think we need to prepare for the following week. And so in the beginning of this journey, what we did is we brought together all the different engagements we've had with sponsors and created this huge 15-page document that just sort of hung there. It was dull. It didn't come alive. It didn't speak to the value of this journey. And so I kept looking at this 15-page document and thinking, what else? What else? And so that's when this question came in of how might we build an impactful and valuable sponsor journey? So you'll remember last month we had all those WhatsApp ideas flying around and just people's ideas of what could happen to create an impactful and valuable sponsor journey was huge. And I was overwhelmed by what kept coming in. And then realized, this list isn't as overwhelming because I was able to bundle the ideas into 4 themes. And once I saw those themes, it became a lot more manageable. And this need for this 15-page document sort of fell by the wayside because what we were able to start to see are these 4 threads. So this is our 100-day journey that we know so well. But what I started to see was a lot of the themes and a lot of the work fell into 4 threads. So the first thread was supporting the sponsors around the process. So this means prepping for events, reflecting on events, preparing for events. And so what we saw was how we can have this theme, this thread, go across the journey. Another thread that we saw was this idea of a personal discovery around being the leader and conversations around authorizing the team to dare, power dynamics, impact, sustainability, and thinking about how we can take this thread and pull it through the whole journey. The third thread was around indicators of success. So this meant establishing some hard and soft goals. Hard goals around outcomes they want the team to achieve, but soft goals around how they want the team to work together. So establishing these, we can look at this thread across the journey. And then this fourth thread was around engagement with system leaders. So this meant thinking about specific times through the journey that the sponsors connect with and engage with the other system leaders to tell them how the journey is going, what the barriers are, what the challenges are, and how they can help unlock resources. So, after taking these four threads, we thought about a sample sponsor journey. So instead of thinking about the journey, just we need to talk to them about this, being much more strategic and comprehensive. So this is an example of 13 different touch points around a sponsor journey. So we're going to start with the design session where the sponsors are selected. And then we come into these two conversations before the launch. So this first conversation has a question of what is my role, which is a leadership learning journey prompt, along with what are the next steps as a sponsor, which is process journey prompt. And then we would follow up that call with sample communication pieces, worksheets for them to help to build the team. Then before the launch, we'd have another check-in, prepping for the launch, so that's a process prompt, sharing a survey and checklist, which would be a leave behind, but then also thinking about how might they support the team and how would they authorize them to dare. And so that would be a learning journey prompt around leadership. So then we get to the launch where we establish indicators of success. Then we work into the 7 bi-weekly check-ins where we have the agenda where we first do a pulse check on the indicators and the data. Then we have a learning prompt on process and on leadership. So different themes throughout the journey, followed by different leave behinds based on that conversation. And then we have different instances of specific engagement with system leaders, following the launch, following the midpoint review, and following the sustainability review. So then we have 2 more on-site conversations at the midpoint review and at the sustainability review. Out of the midpoint review is clarity around challenges, and we start to have conversations about sustainability. At the sustainability review, what comes out of that are the proposals that will then go back to the system leaders to close up the closing chapter from the design session at the What's Next workshop. So when we took the 4 threads and weave them through these touch points, it became really clear about how we can build off of and throughout the journey. So after that, we decided we had different questions now. So our questions became, what are the most critical pieces? What are the must-haves versus what would be nice to have? How might we evolve based on specific needs and wants of sponsors at different journeys? And really, how can we connect the dots, tighten that up, and build throughout the journey? So where are we now and where are we going? So what we've learned, the sponsor journey is already going to be looking different. We have 2 upcoming 100-day challenges where we're going to start to iterate and test some of these. But what we really need is the team to continue to be patient and organized and courageous. Because what we're doing is we need to work together as a whole team across all ventures, across all projects. We need to be flexible because where one project might have 13 touch points, and most of them being conference calls, another one might have 6, and they might be really intense on-site conversations. But it doesn't matter the structure as long as the threads are the same. And so these threads will also evolve. But I appreciate that we got to this point, and I appreciate how we have a plan to continue to build this out. So, onward.